Yesterday there was sun and there was rain, beauty in the mundane.
Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Hannah Olson and I live in Minnesota with my husband and our 3 children, Sophie, who's 5.5, Soren, who is 3.5, and Svea, who is almost 5 months old. I love posting about all things motherhood, homemaking, and homeschooling. This video today is about homeschooling though, and we're talking about the specific curriculum picks for our son Soren, who will be turning 4 in November. Now, we are not new to homeschooling. We have a 5.5-year-old daughter too, and we've actually homeschooled for several years now. We started when my daughter was about, well, she was 2.5 and she was just about to turn 3. So we did preschool for a year for her, and then a second year of preschool for her for the year she was 4. And this past year we've done pre-K work for Sophie. The reason I mention this is because we are following a similar pattern for our son Soren, who will be 4 this fall. He has already done a year of preschool work with me, and we are calling this his second year of preschool. He is so excited. He's always been interested in doing schoolwork, and he's so proud of the workbooks that he pulls out from the cupboard and that he sits down to do with me, and he's so pleased when he learns something new. So I know we're just going to totally love it again this year. It's going to be a continuation of some really sweet memories and great learning time. Okay, so I have a spreadsheet on my computer here, so you might notice me glancing down because I want to make sure I don't forget anything. But I've got a whole spreadsheet for our daughter Sophie as well as our son Soren, and I have a video going up also about Sophie. So today's video is all about my second born. If you want to hear what we're doing with our 5.5-year-old, soon to be 6-year-old for kindergarten this year, be sure to check out that video. In our subject list here, let's start out with math. Now, Soren has already started the Good and the Beautiful's preschool level course book. I deemed him ready about midway through the year last year, and so we have really enjoyed working through that, but we are doing a continuation of that preschool level course book this coming school year, and they do infuse both language arts and math skills in that course book. So that's part of math this year, but what we have really enjoyed with Soren is our mathematical reasoning beginning 1 and now beginning 2 workbooks. He's in the beginning 2 level right now, but beginning 1 is specifically made for 3-year-olds. So it's very developmentally appropriate, and it's really engaging and cute, but also challenging, and covers all sorts of great skills for 3-year-olds, and now he's working on the 4-year-old book. So it's a really great one to have on hand in your homeschool time. I highly recommend mathematical reasoning. Now, I am a former elementary school teacher, and part of my time, most of my time as a school teacher, was actually spent in Title I, which is small group reading and math interventions. So I do still have a collection of some of my old Title I math and reading games, so I plan on doing some of those with Soren this year to just bolster some of his math skills. We have a fun little game that we've been doing with Sophie and Soren called Tiny Dot. I think it's called Tiny Dot. Tiny Dot math game. It's like a card game. It has something like 16 games in one, and it is a blast. It's really cute and helps with a lot of dot and like number amount recognizing, called subitizing sometimes, and we will be using that for Soren for math this year. We also have something called a Rec and Rec, which is, I don't want to call it an abacus, but it kind of is that. If you want to visualize something, it has little beads that you can slide back and forth to represent different amounts of numbers, and I want to work with Soren more on that this year as well. Let's move on to the subjects of language arts and reading. For Soren, we are doing just a lot of picture books still. For both of my kids, we are. We love picture books in this family so much. You can actually shop our home library on my blog, on my website, so I will link that down below. But we are just going to eat up books like crazy. That's just such a beneficial thing for young kids and kids of all ages. I have a preschool prompts notebook that I've done with Sophie in the past, and we've really enjoyed it. Once I deem Soren ready to go through that preschool prompts notebook, I will be printing off the prompts and assembling a little notebook for him for this year too. We'll work on things like the alphabet and nursery rhymes and lots of singing and ABC color tracing and all sorts of alphabet activities this year. But we also really love the Good and the Beautiful's handwriting course books. Well, it's like a little workbook that you can do. And they have two that are called pre-writing. They have pre-writing 1 and pre-writing 2. It kind of focuses on different doodles and various motions and kind of shapes you would do that are similar to letters, but in a really cute and engaging way for kids. So it's called pre-writing because you're not quite forming the letters yet with those books. Now, Soren has been working on forming some letters, but I still plan on finishing up those Good and the Beautiful pre-writing notebooks. For reading, I love pulling from the Sunlight Curriculum's book lists. You can buy an entire leveled set of books from Sunlight Curriculum, like their whole preschool and then their whole pre-K set, but what I've done is I've kind of sifted through whatever I want to get out of it, and then I go and buy those books used on Better World Books, which is a really great website to buy used books from. And so we plan on still doing some Sunlight brand or Sunlight Curriculum recommended books. It's a very literature heavy curriculum. We already own a lot of the preschool and pre-K level books, so we'll just continue reading those this year with Soren. Something we started this summer that we've really loved is from the Learning Without Tears brand, but it's handwriting without tears. And Soren has absolutely loved doing, his level is called My First Book Set, My First Book, and Lowercase Book. So it's two different books. Right now we're just working through the one called My First Book, or My First School Book. And Learning Without Tears is a really great company. I've been really impressed with them so far. I love how for handwriting without tears, it's very tactile. You use these big manipulative wood pieces to form letters. Then the second step is you go into chalkboard letters, and the third step, finally, you are doing pencil to paper. And I just love that for him. He's felt really successful, and you want to have as much success as you can in these early years, or any years, but especially as we are getting used to forming letters, I don't want him to get discouraged. So we've really loved the Learning Without Tears. Another subject I want to focus on more this year is logic, and that's more of a classical term. I know we're not totally in the classical education camp, although I love reading books about classical education. So in terms of logic, I want our kids to eventually learn how to play chess. So there's something called No Stress Chess on Amazon, and I plan on getting that, especially for our 5.5-year-old, but I have a feeling Soren will want to be involved as well. We also already own something called the Logic Activity Pack. It's from Teachers Pay Teachers, and I highly recommend it. It is, I think, about 16 games, different game sets. And it is so much fun for kids. It comes with these little pieces that you match onto a grid based on different criteria and categories. It's a little hard to describe, so I will link it down in the description box below for you. It's for ages 4 to 7, and it's just to help with some logic and critical thinking skills, which I am so excited to develop in my kids over the years. With Soren, we also plan on continuing doing puzzles. He loves doing puzzles, so I have that included in our logic subject here too. We have a lot of combined or family subjects that I'm doing together with Sophie and Soren in our family, and that includes things like music, Bible, art, health, social studies and history, and read-alouds. So I did go over these in my video about what we're doing with our kindergartner, Sophie, this year, but I will also go over them here if you are watching this video just to get some preschool ideas. For music, we are doing something called Squilt again. That stands for Super Quiet Uninterrupted Listening Time, I believe. It's a website that has a great subscription service, but I actually do just have a unit that we purchased individually. I hope to do more of that ongoing membership thing when the kids are a little bit older. For now, we just have a unit called Meet the Orchestra, and we did some of it last year. It was so much fun. I love the idea of exposing our kids to good quality classical music, so we are doing more of Meet the Orchestra. We also will continue to listen to our catechism songs, which are easily found on Spotify. They are called Tell Me Who. I'll link it down below. Tell Me Who catechism songs. And I love it because they match up really well with our Truth and Grace memory book, which is something we are doing again in our Bible subject this year. Something else I want to include in our music subject is hymns. I'm not going to put a lot of pressure on myself for teaching my children hymns like this year specifically. I have to do it this year, but I really want to, over the years, be infusing more hymns and hymn lyrics into our homeschool time, because they are so valuable. I still have hymn lyrics in my head that bolster me and encourage me throughout my life, my adult years now, so I definitely want us to not forget to learn hymns. That segues over really well into our next subject, which is Bible. We have a little catechism for kids called the Truth and Grace Memory Book. It's for something like ages 2 through 9 or 3 through 9. It has really great catechism answers, and it goes along with that Tell Me Who catechism songs you can find on Spotify, which makes it so fun to listen to in the car. So I do plan on doing more of our memory questions, our catechism questions from that memory book. We have the Jesus Storybook Bible on our Yodo player, and if you want to hear more about the Yodo player and how we use it in our family, I have a video all about the Yodo player too. Also part of our Bible subject, I guess you could say, we go to a weekly Bible study, and it's something that has great Bible study for grown-ups, but also a really fabulous children's program downstairs, and I love all of the Bible lessons and songs and even some scripture memory that our children get in that program. The Bible study is called CBS. It's Community Bible Study. It's an international program, so you can just look it up on their website and find a group that meets near you. And if you can't find that, look up one called BSF, Bible Study Fellowship, and we've loved being a part of BSF as well in the past. It just depends on what town we are in, so you can look up BSF or CBS. We have loved the children's program for that, so I'm including that in our Bible subject. Something new I'm trying this year is called the Abeka Flash a Card Salvation Series, and it comes with these giant cards that are kind of like a painting or illustration of so many different truths or even stories from the Bible. And I love how it presents the gospel. It comes with a little teacher book, and the kids are really getting excited to get into it this year, and I'm looking forward to teaching them about the Bible while holding up these big, beautiful, engaging pictures for them to really focus on the truths of each day's lesson. I'm planning on doing more scripture memory this year, and I have finally jumped in and have gotten the supplies to do the Charlotte Mason scripture memory system. I think it'll be great for our family because it's a really good looping system where you are constantly reviewing past Bible verses that you have memorized, and it'll be really great for us and also great for me as a mom to have even more scripture memorized. We have a favorite children's Bible that I will link below for you, and that's another one we will be pulling Bible stories from and just reading Bible stories throughout the year. For the subject of health, I want to get into more of the Beautiful Feet books curriculum. They have basically these big book sets about character. It's called character books, and I am really excited to just pick some. I've already picked. I'm excited to go through the books that are part of their character set, and some of them we already own actually, and some of them I will be purchasing or have purchased. So I'm looking forward to that. I am also looking forward to doing some health and safety conversation cards. I think the brand is called eBoo. They have some other really great cards about inferencing and social situations, so I thought I would include that in the health category. As far as art goes, I'm a little more casual about art in our homeschool time. We do a lot of watercolor painting, we do a lot of drawing, and the kids make lots of crafts and do tons of cutting and tracing and taping. Not so much gluing, because that's not what mom is comfortable with, but we definitely have all sorts of crafting going on. But we also have books called Come Look With Me. It's a whole series of Come Look With Me books that focus on some more famous paintings or interesting paintings for kids, and I love that because we can just sit on the couch and learn about famous artwork. Then we've also got good sensory options like Play-Doh and some sand sensory kits that I love. We also have a giant roll of butcher paper that we can color on, so all sorts of art is happening in our home on a daily basis. When it comes to the subject of science, we are just going very book heavy, especially. We love the Jerry Pallotta alphabet books, we love Usborne books, and pretty much any interesting nonfiction books we can get our hands on. We have tons of books in this family, and it's just so much fun to learn about subjects that the kids are interested in. We have a couple geodes that we bought recently that we want to crack open once we learn about those. We have a couple owl pellets that we want to do as well. We recently did a family rocket launch day. We invited relatives into town, and everyone brought their own rocket from Hobby Lobby, and we hosted this big rocket launch time and made snacks for it, and that was just so much fun. So I think for science we just are going for now on a lot of interest driven subjects. When it comes to social studies and history, we are also going pretty book heavy there. My husband is a former social studies and history teacher. He is very passionate about the subject. He taught middle schoolers, but he makes it fun for absolutely any age. He's also taught community ed classes on history as well. And it has been so much fun to see our kids start to be more excited about social studies and history just based off of their dad's excitement. And Bjorn has been reading a ton of the Magic Treehouse books with Sophie and Soren probably since January. They've read at least 20 of the books. It was 19 at my last count, and I know they've done more since then. So they have really enjoyed discussing all of the subjects in there, and they've surprisingly, maybe not surprisingly, they've really been able to soak in a lot of facts from those books, and that's been really fun. Also for social studies and history, I plan on pulling some books from the Around the World in Picture books from Beautiful Feet, and it's Around the World Part 1, and we already own several of the books, so I have gone through and selected the ones that I especially would want to purchase or go check out from a library, and I'm looking forward to traveling around the world with the kids that way. And then read aloud is a huge part of our homeschool time. I love reading aloud. When I was a classroom teacher, I was a third grade teacher, and reading aloud was one of my favorite parts of the day, and I think the kids caught on to that excitement too. We do read aloud with some special manipulatives and little toys that I set aside only for read aloud time, and the kids absolutely love that. And if you are interested in learning more about how beneficial reading aloud is, we all know it's good for you, but if you want to get even deeper into the subject, there's a book called The Read Aloud Family out there that is really, really good. So I will link that down below if you're interested in that too. As you can see, we're not going super strict in terms of Soren's preschool. We just mostly want to foster a love for books, all sorts of books. We want him to fall in love with learning, which he already has, but I want to foster such a love for growth and learning and increasing in knowledge, because I believe that we can really honor God with our minds and with all things that we do, but we want to foster that growth in Soren. I'm so looking forward to doing a second year of joyful learning and discovery with Soren this year. That's it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. I'm so glad you're here. If you're not subscribed already to my channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button. That way you won't miss out on any new videos that come your way. I've been sending out weekly newsletters lately that are full of things like a tried and true recipe, but also a lot of motherhood and homemaking tips, as well as some new content that has come out on my blog. So make sure you don't miss out on anything by subscribing to this channel and signing up for emails especially. You can also follow along with me over on Instagram at Hannah B. Olson. I also have an online motherhood and homemaking course called the Present Mama Playbook, where we talk about fresh perspectives in motherhood and parenting strategies and mental strategies, but also how to make your home run more smoothly. Right now the course is closed for enrollment, but I do plan on reopening it, and I cannot wait to encourage and help more of you moms out there, and I don't want you to miss out on when it opens for re-enrollment, so make sure you join that waitlist down below in the description box. I hope you're having a wonderful day wherever you're at, and I'll see you in my next one.
Yesterday there was sun.